Welcome back to the show. I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to today's visit with my friends. Haven't had a chance to visit with Jill and Kevin in a while, but we're going to talk about some exciting things happening in their lives and how they're adding to the economy in Central Texas in a kind of a fun and unique way. But I want to tell you that I have this quote from Jill. She says, anyone who has perfected a craft works hard for that perfection. And so what we're going to talk about is how they have turned that into an amazing business of craft beer. So Jill King, happy to have you here with us.
And thanks so much for having me.
Kevin Yackley, good to have you. And so I have done stories with both of you separately. Jill, you were on one of the very first podcasts here. It's been 5 years. I was looking at how long ago it was. You had been a panelist with the Greater Waco Chamber of Commerce, leading Waco women. And so that was in 2020. And
wow.
yeah. And of course, you're a marketing professional. I mean, you've just knocked it out of the park, kind of a trailblazer in that whole field for what, more than 30 years.
34, but I'm only 30.
It's amazing. You were quite the prodigy, for sure.
Yes, I was just a baby when I started.
And then Kevin, we did a story on traveling Texas.
Right,
and it was so much fun because back in the 80s, you decided you liked making craft beer in the basement.
Yeah,
and so
yep.
So the two of you moved here from California, right?
More or less.
More or
We
less.
born and raised in Southern California, and that's where Kevin and I met, was in San Diego. We had a small stint of 6 years in Utah, but we knew that was not our forever home. And Kevin loved Texas because he spent time in the military here. And so I knew that was on his short list of where we wanted to spend our later years in life. And when we decided to open a brewery, we went searching for a new home here in Central Texas, and we just fell in love with Waco. So
Yeah.
we've been here now 8 years, 2017.
So you opened Bear Arms Brewery, or Arms there on the.
Technically, we bought it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was already in existence.
Yep.
And so you bought it and just jumped right in, and right when COVID hit,
Ugh, yes.
the timing was,
Terrible.
yeah.
But we made it work. We moved in 2017, and we searched high and low for a place, a building to buy, to rent, to lease, whatever, and just nothing. 2 years had gone by and nothing. And we thought, oh, did we make a mistake moving to Waco? Like maybe the universe has a different plan for us, And so we just kind of let's just take a break from looking, and maybe something will present itself. And so 6 months had passed, and it was November of 2019. And I travel quite a bit for my day job, for my marketing firm. And I had just landed at DFW, and I was on my way home, and I get a call from Kevin, and he says, hey, where are you? And I said, I'm in Waxahachie. I'll be home in like 45 minutes. He says, great, meet me at Crickets. He says, Bear Arms wants to meet with us. And I said, what do they want to meet with us about? And I kind of said flippantly, I'm like, what, do they want us to acquire them? Just jokingly.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they
That was what
yeah,
they wanted, yeah.
they said that the three partners were kind of going their separate ways, and would we be interested in buying versus building? And so Kevin and I did our due diligence, and the transaction actually happened pretty quickly. So by
Very
December
simple transaction.
December 31st, we announced January 1 of 2020. So yeah, just in time for COVID.
Just in time for everything to shut down, and
Right? It was terrible
Yeah.
timing. But, through that, and it gave us a chance to understand Waco in a more quiet way, because we were not open fully, and Kevin and I were able to get PhDs in, owning a retail business in Waco, and go through the hard knocks of COVID and owning a restaurant or building a restaurant, because when we bought the brewery, it was just the brewery.
right, and you were doing some barbecue and stuff. I
Well,
think.
no. So when it was just beer.
Okay.
So Kevin and I never set out to be restaurateurs.
To do a restaurant?
No,
Okay.
no. Like that was the furthest thing from our mind.
Until now.
So,
So,
well,
yeah.
in order to get back open, we had to become a restaurant because of COVID.
That's right. That was what it was. So then there was
Yeah,
some
so
barbecue being sold there.
we bought a food truck, and because the brewery would never support a commercial kitchen it was only 4,500 square feet. Is that right, Kevin?
Yeah, just an old building though wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Practical.
Bear Arms was there originally, or did you move it there?
Nope,
No.
it was there originally.
That's where it was, and it's been around a while.
Yeah, 10
already.
years. This
So
year's
now
10 years.
it's
Actually, this month,
15th of June.
15th of June, we had our 10th anniversary.
10th anniversary.
So Bear Arms has been open for 10 years. We're
Yeah.
Waco's oldest brewery.
Yeah. So the whole craft beer thing I've found fascinating. You know, when I came over there and saw the process, and
Yeah, I gave you a tour.
you gave me a wonderful tour, and you spent some time in the military, as Jill says, but also some time in Germany. And so is that kind of what sparked your interest in beer?
Not really. Was never stationed in Germany, but I did visit. I had friends and temporary duty assignments and things. But I enjoyed Germany. But beer wasn't the motivation. It was really just more a hobby. After was it after I got out? Just as I was getting out, that's when I got into the hobby.
Uh-huh.
And started making beer at home. 1985.
Yeah, so you've kind of been perfecting your craft for a long time,
Right.
and so you're kind of feeling like, well, we want to do something different, do something new. So what was the thing that said, I think I want to be a full-time craft beer maker?
A lot of it's a normal thing for a home brewer to try to achieve a bigger expand their goal into commercial. It's hard for a lot. Business is hard in the first place, of course.
Yeah.
So I had to go through all that, but I was a businessman already in another field, as was Jill, and so it just took some time to learn how to do a business plan and go talk to financing and try to find how am I going to make this work and looking for locations, and we just went through that whole process over a period of about 6 years, I guess, in Utah before we came here, and we were pretty much set to build a brewery in Utah, but preferred Texas, clearly.
This is Kevin's third career. So first career was military.
Right.
His second career, long term, he was a CTO in telecommunications, so an engineer by trade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so he retired from telecom in probably around 2010. And so he did some consulting after he retired a bit. And as a wife, I would say he was bored.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're still a very young man. So, like, there's another gig for you.
Yeah.
Like, what's next for you? And so I think we just kind of one day over drinks, we're just, when he's having a beer, I think beer has been such a big part of our lives. Like, every home we've owned, it's like, where's the brewery going to go? Or anytime we go on vacation, where's the local brewery?
Yeah.
Beer has always just been a part of our lives. We've been married now 25 years, be 26 in October.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, let's open a brewery. Why not? In your retirement, let's get that our third career. So like Kevin said, we did a business plan and we thought we were going to do it in Utah, but beer, alcohol, and Utah, it probably wasn't the best.
Right, a lot heavily Mormon.
Correct. And so not a lot of market.
Teetotalers.
Exactly.
There. Yeah.
And
so you come to Waco, home of the Baptists, and
Correct. We just traded the Mormons for the Baptists, but Baptists drink beer, so we're good with that.
Well, there's a heavy German influence in Texas as well.
That's true,
So yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of how, becoming brewers, but Kevin's always been super passionate about beer. I would call him a beer snob. And probably the early days of like Sierra Nevada and Stone Brewing that are
California breweries.
Yeah, California breweries. We were probably big investors just by our consumption of beer. So
one pint at a time.
Well, to me it's kind of complicated. There's a lot to know about beer. If you think wine is complex.
Right.
With
similar.
the different grapes and all that kind of stuff, you get into the same type thing with beer. So your education in this as a brewer, I guess you have your favorites, right?
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
your
my
palate
favorite,
is
my
you
favorite
know
styles.
geared-
Yes.
So what your very very favorite is what?
it's a growing style here. It's called India Pale Ale.
Right.
But there's a whole bunch now of versions of IPAs, different styles, colors, different ABV compositions, things like that. So IPA is a pretty broad term now.
Oh, okay.
My original desire was for a West Coast style IPA, which tends to be dry, high ABV, a high hop content, so bitter, with a very dry finish. But that's not very palatable. It's starting to be here in Central Texas. But
Yeah.
But then IPA now, it covers a pretty broad range of different styles now, from fruity to
We've got double
hazy.
IPAs to hazies to black IPAs to New England style IPAs. There's a lot.
Really?
Yeah. And they all have different, like, malt forward would be what, New England, right? Kevin talked.
fruit,
Yeah, Kevin talked about a West Coast, which is dry. You got a hazy, which is kind of
okay,
fruit
dry,
forward.
Dry, when you're talking about beer, what does
It
that
just means
mean?
not sweet.
Okay, well, same with wine.
Yeah,
okay,
similar.
Same thing.
Like a dry Cabernet, it's very, I think, bold,
Yeah,
and
right.
it's very
A dry finish would be the
Oaky.
taste doesn't linger on your tongue for very long.
Mm-hmm.
beer's the same way. Same with like whiskeys and distilling.
Really?
They all have a very similar process. I'm not a brewer, but I've learned a lot about brewing since
bet
I've known
you have.
Kevin.
I'll bet you
She's
have.
been on my tour.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm a novice, though.
Great. It was a great tour. Great tour. So the business was apparently, you got past the COVID thing and to have your regulars. I remember you had like mugs. You could have your own mug,
Yeah.
and go in and.
Yeah, the mug club existed when we bought the place, and we just continued it. It was always a stoneware mug, unique every year, different every year.
Right.
And everyone is numbered, so everyone is unique, and the customer gets to keep their mugs if they choose to at the place, and they always did. And we wash it and clean it up for them and get it ready for the next time. But it's always their mug. And then at the end of the year, they take it home with them and hopefully buy another one.
Hopefully buy another one.
Becomes a collector's piece.
It engenders this loyalty and this camaraderie, and which is kind of a hallmark, I would think, to
Absolutely.
the community you're
Yeah.
sort of building.
And we sold out every year.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So last December, you closed it down because you're doing something exciting now.
We are. We knew that bear arms where exist off the traffic circle was our limiting factor, right? Because it was an older building, it was small, it was off the beaten path. People didn't go off the traffic circle anymore. And so we had about 2 years left on the lease when we acquired Bear Arms. And so we immediately started looking. But it's not easy to find a building here in Waco for a brewery. It's difficult. You think there's a lot of real estate that's out there for sale or lease or whatever, but not everyone is ideal for a brewery. And so I met Jimmy Banks with Trilogy Group. He owns Legends Crossing, which is where like Chewy's and P.F.
Over by the
Chang's
hospital.
over by the hospital. And we met in September of 23. And so he started talking about this location that was empty land that he wanted to build a building. And it was in Robinson. And I was opened, but Kevin,
A little skeptical getting out of the city and
Right.
out into the suburbs, but turns out it's a great location, great support from the community, and so I came around pretty quickly, but it took a little while, but pretty quickly.
yeah, so the new
But
building,
that was two years ago.
yeah, September 23, almost 2 years ago, that this kind of came to light. And so now we are opening our new brewery in Robinson off of Highway 6 in between Old Robinson Road and Highway 77, right there off of the freeway. So you can see this big, beautiful 10,000 square foot restaurant and brewery going in. It's massive.
Yeah, way bigger than what
Oh,
you had.
yeah. We had 4,500 square feet off the
Yeah.
traffic circle, and
Yeah.
now we've got this 2-story building that just, like, sometimes I walk through it and I go, holy cow, is this really happening? And then we've got this 3-acre beer garden that will have walking paths that's all tree covered by oaks. Thus our new name.
And you got the shirt.
I do have
t-shirt.
I have the
Yeah,
T-shirt. So we
Six Oaks.
Six Oaks is the new name of the restaurant, and so it's on Highway 6 on a 6-acre beer or 3-acre beer garden that's covered in oak trees. So scrub oaks, but they're still oaks, right? And
yeah.
so thus we came up with the name Six Oaks Brewery, Texas Kitchen and Brewery. So
Just so to be clear, Six Oaks doesn't replace Bear Arms.
Right. So the brewery and the beer.
All made in the same facility. It's Six Oaks is a full scratch kitchen with a large dining room and table service, unlike what we were able to do at the old location. But the brewery will remain also in the same facility.
And so we'll proudly serve Bear Arms beer exclusively at Six Oaks. And so we want to be a restaurant first, and our goal is to create I would say, an upscale casual dining restaurant that you would be proud to go every day or on date night. And so it's not white tablecloth. I don't think that's not our style, right? Like it's not, that's occasional on an anniversary or whatever, as maybe once a month kind of situation, but we want a restaurant that people would love to come on a date with their significant other, or, every day after work, I'm going to come and grab my mug club and, some bite to eat on my way home or whatever, have happy hour, or, hey, let's just go out. It's a Tuesday night. I don't feel like cooking. Let's go over to Six Oaks and grab a bite and have a pint. So that's our goal.
Well, it's a lofty goal, and there's a lot more for us to learn about the plans you have ahead, and want to hear a little bit more about some of the beer making aspects of this from Kevin, and we will be right back after this word. Stay with us.
Escape into fitness with the Schwinn IC4 bike, providing a premium, heart-pumping indoor cycling experience that combines digital connectivity with superior Schwinn quality. The IC4's smooth, quiet ride features magnetic resistance with 100 micro-adjustable resistance levels. Escape the everyday with the Schwinn IC4 bike, your ticket to a life well lived.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey, past, present, and future. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence, elevate creativity, and honor what matters most. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.
Tomorrow morning, there's a very special ceremony by the Hewitt VFW Post number 6008. They'll be dedicating a memorial for all veterans and branches of the military. It starts at 9 in the morning in Hewitt Park. This memorial honors those military men and women who were wounded and or killed in combat. Stay with us.
If I've learned anything in the last year, it's that to show up as my best, I need to make intentional choices. And that goes back to the absolute basics. Number one, it's I have to move. And number two, to stay hydrated. I have been using molecular hydrogen from Water and Wellness to support my health and well-being. It helps with energy, recovery, liver health, and more. The hydrogen has been a game-changing addition to my own wellness routine. The tablets dissolve into my water and deliver powerful minerals to help my body feel its best all day long.
Today's show is brought to you by Main Event Entertainment Center. They've got it all. They've got bowling, virtual reality, laser tag, billiards, shuffleboard, and more. And if you mention my name, Ann Harder, when you're booking, you get double arcade play free. And if you book by July 24th, your guest of honor will play free. For your next main event, it's Main Event, 2420 Creekview Drive in Waco, right next to the Cinemark Theaters. And we're back with Jill King and Kevin Yackley, and they have got now the upcoming Six Oaks Texas Kitchen and Brewery, and have had a now 10-year-old microbrewery. I mean craft brewery.
We say craft
I guess
brewery
they're not
now.
really micro. What makes one micro? Or
It's a sort of a sea change in the industry. They used to be called microbreweries, small scale breweries. That's where the micro came from. But I don't even shoot. It's probably been 15 years, maybe 10 years, the term craft beer became more inclusive because larger breweries started getting into this the new style craft beer realm. So they were too big to be called micro. So basically, the industry changed the name.
Well, and of course, you've had several years now in Waco to kind of see what the taste of folks are. You say the IPAs are kind of coming on strong. Where does the Hefeweizen come in? The wheat beers and you do all of these?
Yes, we
different
do.
Ones, yeah.
We had 20 taps at the old location. I think we're going to be able to make as many as 24.
Really?
At the new location. So a broad range of styles, including Hefeweizens and other wheat type beers. We have a full range. We did, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 75 new different beers last year. And
I found that
before that
fascinating when we did the story a few years ago that you're always coming. Of course, you see seasonal beers come up with, if you have pumpkin latte, I don't know, but something like that.
Yeah, I tend away from the trendy styles myself, but my staff is always on me to put something unique in a beer.
Yeah, well, I remember you were mulling over bubble gum. That stuck with me. Do you remember telling me about that?
It falls in that trendy category. Yeah, that
Extremely.
I try to avoid.
I think breweries actually got a little too trendy. Like they would have like Captain Crunch beer and like just things that's like, who would want to drink that?
Oh, really?
So we kind of have two. Like if I look at from we have Kevin, who's a traditionalist. He likes traditional beer styles. And then we have a younger head brewer that wants to do all these kind of, more crazy beers.
Yeah.
And so it's a nice mix because sometimes you can get too crazy and create beers that you just go, that's awful.
Yeah,
I'm sure everyone's experienced that. They go to a brewery and they try something and they're like, I can't drink a whole pint of that.
Yeah.
We want our beers to be very drinkable.
Well, and that's why you do tastings, just like you have at a winery.
Right,
Absolutely.
flights.
Yeah.
We call them flights.
Flights to see what really what kind of agrees with your palate.
We also started adding. This is part of the collaboration from the old guy me and young guy Nick. We started doing a Firkin Friday. A Firkin is a cask conditioned beer. It's a small vessel usually, and you do something unique there. We took a finished beer and added something to it. So we would put at Christmas maybe I think we put peppermint in a stout once.
Yeah. Oh, do you remember we did a fruit cake. So one of our friends of the brewery brought us back this beautiful fruit cake from wherever they traveled. It happens all the time. People would bring us gifts, right? And so we cut up this fruit cake and we were all sharing it. I'm like, that would make a really great beer. So we took our base stout and then we had like pecans and cherries and like we deconstructed this fruit cake and we made a fruit cake beer. Actually, you know who gave it to us? Lonnie Jones is the one that gave us that fruit cake for Christmas. So do you know Lonnie? Anyway, she's with White Label Realty. But and she does land. Anyway, sorry, a little plug for Lonnie there. But
right.
So she brought us back a fruit cake, and it inspired our brewers to make a fruit cake beer. It was really quite delicious because it was very spicy. There's the spice that's the cinnamon and nutmeg and everything that's in a fruit cake. So it was pretty good. So we're inspired by food all the time.
We did Firkin Fridays every Friday, almost without fail. Every Friday a new beer. This is a small batch, 5 gallons. And it would sell out usually over the weekend.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, and as I recall, people could bring in like a small container and have it refilled to take home, so they'd have
right. Those are called growlers in the industry. So anything that'll hold beer and seal, we can fill it up for them.
Right.
And we will at the new place. Everything we're saying now, we'll carry forward. We'll still do these.
Yeah. So you're looking forward to later in the summer for this all to be open?
Keep your fingers crossed. That's the hope.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
it's been a little rainy,
right? Mother Nature has not been kind this spring. I mean, I'm grateful for the rain personally, but I wish Mother Nature would just stop raining because we just need it to dry out so we can get some momentum.
Yeah, things always take longer than anticipated. We had a groundbreaking ceremony in January at the property, January 27, I think, late January.
Yeah.
And I mistakenly said late summer. And I said, oh, no, I mean
You
late
said
spring.
Yeah.
And so I corrected myself, but now it turns out it's going to be late summer
It's going to
anyway.
be late summer
You're
anyway.
a prophet.
Maybe, and I made that mistake a couple of times in conversation, and so maybe it was.
You just
foretold.
put it out. You just put it out there in the universe, and it
Yeah.
became true. So just
Stop that. Stop talking, Kevin.
So I know there are other restaurants though that carry Bear Arms
Yeah.
beers, right?
Yeah, we self-distribute.
So how is that going? I mean, is that growing? You have more.
You can't find us anywhere right now because
Well, that's true.
everyone
Yeah.
is out of stock. So we had a
Yeah.
lot of restaurants that stockpiled, but now they're out of stock because
Okay.
and everyone
Yeah.
we have some very loyal restaurants that just are like, when are you going to have our beer back? We
I
miss you.
know, I
They
know.
still have kept our taps.
I was going
on-
to say they still have it on.
They
the-
do, and people people will send us messages on Facebook all the time saying like, where can I find your beer? We miss you so much. And
Yeah.
I mean, we've just had such an outpouring of support from the community. We're overwhelmed, actually. So, Kevin talked about our groundbreaking, and there was so many people at the groundbreaking that I was blown away. Like, we arrived and we're like, oh my gosh, this is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't think we can go anywhere, out to dinner or whatever. People don't just stop and say, how's the brewery going? When are you guys going to be open? It's really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's now going to be a pent up demand, and that's always a good thing.
Yes. And we will be back in restaurants as soon as we can get open and get all of our licenses and things like that. It's
Yeah.
just timing. We got to have a building first before we can apply for our licenses, and it's a process.
Yes. But as you move further down along that process, you're going to be looking to hire too. I mean, with a restaurant, a full blown
Yeah.
restaurant. So this is kind of new territory
Yeah.
for you, right?
Not new from a business perspective. Kevin and we've been doing businesses for 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
So hiring staff and things like that, I like to say we're business people first.
Right.
And I'm a marketing person second. Kevin is a business person first, a brewer second. And so staff is not surprising to us. Running a business is not surprising to us, but we have put the new business plan together, and we are going to be hiring probably about 40 people
Yeah.
for
But
the
the
new
scale
brewery.
of this is
It's massive.
bigger than.
Much bigger than Bear Arms.
Than Bear-
And we talked about being this, upscale casual dining. So we'll be hiring wait staff, we'll be hiring bartenders, we'll be hiring kitchen staff, all the way down to, dishwashers and barbacks and, the whole gamut. So if you are looking for a new position in the restaurant industry, please send us your resume to jobs@sixoakswaco.com. And that's 6 with a number 6.
Number 6.
You
Yeah,
can do either 6 or
that's true. We'd have both domains. So SIX Oaks Waco or the number 6 oakswaco.com. So jobs at.
Yeah, great. I mean, talk about an infusion of energy into the economy with this thing that started, not that long ago when you think about it. But
and we've become restaurateurs, kind of kicking and screaming originally.
I was going to say that was not originally on your menu, shall we say?
But we decided, though, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it the right way,
Sure.
rather than trying to piecemeal it together, which was what we had to do before, just out of necessity. So
Right.
we're doing
you
this
kind
correctly.
of forced it. into
Yeah,
it,
our kitchen, our commercial kitchen is going to be a full scratch kitchen, about almost 1,000 square feet in the kitchen alone. We're requiring equipment for that. Have been for a year.
Yeah.
Requiring
storage.
equipment for
So I presume you're thinking about menu. What kinds of things are you going to be offering?
So we talk about being a Texas kitchen,
Uh-huh.
and that could be a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
But, sometimes you go into a restaurant and you'll read the menu and you go, what the heck is that? Like you have no idea. I have traveled Kevin and I both have traveled all over the world in our jobs, and we've eaten at some amazing restaurants. So we're probably foodies, I would
Yeah.
call us.
Yeah.
So, but, that's not something you want to eat every day. But our menu is going to be designed where it's like, I know what that is. But then when you get it, it's elevated.
Okay.
And so it's this beautiful plate of food, and that just has amazing, robust flavors. That's something that maybe pushes the envelope a little bit for Waco, and that you wouldn't necessarily try because you didn't know what it is, but because it's I'm gonna use a chicken fried steak, for instance.
Can't go wrong with that.
No, you cannot. But, a lot of times you get it and it's a little bland, and it might be a frozen product that someone just threw in the fryer, right?
No.
Yeah, that is
You're
not
not
us.
doing that.
Oh,
doing
gosh,
that.
no.
Good. That's good to
And this
know.
will be this beautiful ribeye that you would think of grilling, but we're going to beer batter it and just make it amazing with beautiful seasonings and scratch-made potatoes and scratch-made, gravy that's just like, you just leave and you're just like, that was the best meal. Like it.
It is the goal.
Yes, that's
Oh,
our goal.
Not just the chicken fried steak.
That's right, and
Mouth is watering already.
right. And so we
Right.
wanted something that everyone knows and loves here
Yeah,
in Texas. We have fallen in love with Texas, and we've eaten all these wonderful foods that we have here in Texas. And in my day job at Yaks, in my marketing firm, my clients aren't here in Waco. I mean, I'm happy to have Waco clients, but they're all over the world, and it takes me all over the world. And I know when I get like on a conference call and people say, where do you live? And we're introducing ourselves. And I said, I live in Waco, Texas, right in between Austin and Dallas. And they go, oh, I can see that, Jill. And I'm like, wait, I'm not a Texan. But I am now. I'm truly, I have become a Texan, and I love it here. I love it here. And so
Got here
now,
as quick as we could.
yes.
I know.
And so, to have a Texas scratch kitchen, it's kind of cool. So we're excited about the new menu, but we are developing it. So, and we've been talking to people like, what foods do you love? And like, how can we elevate that? So it'll be, I've got a full menu in mind, but now it's bringing it to fruition in the next couple of months.
And it's going to be fun. Do you have a chef?
We are currently hiring a chef.
Working on that.
We have a couple of candidates in mind. We wanted someone that has a unique palate, someone who has experience outside of Waco. I don't want it to just be something that everyone's had before in Waco. We have the opportunity to introduce Waco to new flavors and to, I'm a big city girl. I grew up in Southern California, San Diego, 6th largest city in the U.S. So, and I moved to Waco because we wanted a, kind of a more down home kind of feel that I could come home at the end of the day, and my marketing firm and being all over the world is crazy. I wanted a place that everyone knows your name and that you can connect with your community. I wanted that in my personal life because I'd never had that. Like living in California, you don't even know your neighbors. Seriously, you do not know your neighbor that's living right next to you. And so I didn't want that anymore. And so that's kind of why we created Bear Arms too, so that we could create a community. And what better way to do it over than food, right? Like when you give someone of your soul. So we're looking for that chef that wants to give of their soul to you on a plate. So I'm a great.
And run the
You
kitchen.
wax poetic.
when I'm a good home cook. So when someone comes over to our home for dinner, like I pour my soul into that meal, and it's love.
Yeah.
So
it is.
I want a chef that delivers love on a plate.
Yeah. And I presume you're going to have suggested pairings of beer.
Maybe not to the extent that a wine menu where the Chateaubriand has this wine selection. It probably won't be that kind of. Not that we're going to do Chateaubriand, but that would be a wine menu item, I think.
Right.
We're not going to do that probably. We might make some suggestions though, and the servers also will be trained on the beers as well, so they'll know to make verbal suggestions.
And we'll cook with our beer too.
Yes.
So, we talked about this chicken fried steak that's
beer
made
battered,
with beer
yeah.
battered. So we'll encourage our chef to cook with as much beer as possible. And so, but, we'll have special events too where we'll have beer pairings. We've also talked about with our chef candidates that whenever we introduce a new beer, that we'll have a special. that goes with that new beer. So we'll do pairings like that.
Making it fun. I mean, as
Right.
people learn more about the whole process, and delicious, fun and delicious. Can't go wrong with that.
No, we definitely want to be a destination.
Uh-huh.
So
Well, and I'm thinking in that part of the county, there's not a lot of.
we have nothing in Robinson. Kevin and I live in
No,
Robinson.
I was gonna say maybe some fried chicken.
Sure. We
Okay,
have
It used to be
we
a
have-
barbecue
we have-
place, but I don't.
We have Taco Bell, we have McDonald's, we have Bush's Chicken,
Right.
but we have Dairy Queen too.
And right there's Dairy Queen.
And we do have probably, there's Tajin's, which is very popular.
Right, and
But
and that's
that's-
kind of
yeah,
a
and-
bigger
Yes.
venue that.
And
right.
then we have the Rocket Cafe,
Uh-huh.
but there's nothing.
There's not a lot over there.
But what's great about our location being right off of 6 and
Uh-huh.
Old Robinson Road, so if you live in Hewitt, you're like 10 minutes. The only thing that we are not close to is maybe China Spring, right?
Right,
But
that would be. Yeah,
that's kind of like
the other
the
side.
farthest reach.
That's your destination.
But I mean, even
Yeah.
if you're like McGregor or you come up
It's-
84 to 6 and
it's
you're
just right
there,
there.
and we'll
Yeah.
have ample parking. You don't have to deal
Good.
with downtown. I
Yeah.
mean, we're here in the Alico building downtown, but even when Kevin and I were coming down, we're like, shit, I don't even know where to park at the Alico. And so we're, but it's sometimes a lot of people, they don't want to come downtown. A lot of locals don't want to come downtown.
Well, there are pockets of that. It's very problematic.
Yeah.
Finding a place to park. for
Correct.
sure.
But so this will be super easy to get to.
Yeah, yeah, and your beer garden. I'm kind of intrigued by that. Because I just think that what a great venue. Are you going to have music there? Are you planning to have some maybe?
In the beer garden, we haven't seen or haven't put together yet that I'm aware of. If the builders have it yet or not put together a landscaping plan yet.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been out there kind of clearing things out, kind of getting a vision. I don't know if we'll be able to do an outdoor stage. We'd once planned to,
Yeah.
but we will have an indoor stage, and we will do comedy. We'll do
Good.
music. Small. We can probably have enough for a full band, but probably wouldn't because it's in the dining room.
Right. Right.
But we can do special events though.
Uh-huh.
Have a trio set up out in the beer garden maybe.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's nothing like what we have in Waco.
There's really not.
We have 3 seasons, 4 seasons really, but summer gets a little warm, but we still want to be outside even
Yeah.
though it's warm. But we have a great area for outdoor, and there's not a lot of places that you go, hey, let's go outdoors. They might have a little patio or something, but 3 acres of picnic tables under wooded trees, shade, and we'll have twinkly lights at night. And so I really see, we'll have outdoor games. And so I have this vision in my head for how this beer garden's going to be, and 3 acres of walking paths too. So how often do we eat a big meal and we're like, let's take a walk,
I
right?
need to take a walk now.
So like you could just go and take a walk after dinner, and you could have a beer in your hand, walking hand in hand with your love of your life, right? Like
Yeah.
how romantic is that? So, or let the kids just run, so it's kind of something for everyone.
Yeah, but very family friendly.
Oh, sure.
So yeah.
yeah, we're going to be restaurant first,
Yeah.
brewery second.
Okay.
Whereas our old location was brewery first,
Right.
and food was not necessarily an afterthought, but it wasn't what we were known for.
Right.
But
Right.
we want to be a restaurant with amazing beer.
But now you've established the name of Bear Arms, and and as a brand, and other restaurants wanting to serve, clamoring to serve your beer when it's up and running.
And that's also why we chose to rebrand the restaurant part,
Yeah.
so that people didn't associate us with the old way we used to do food.
Right.
It's now a whole new.
It's a new
brand.
restaurant. It's
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we'll still have Bear Arms beer.
Yeah.
And you can still find Bear Arms at other restaurants within Waco. And yeah.
We'll have a beer and wine license too. So
Yeah,
right.
general manager knows wine really well. So, so
Yeah,
we'll have-
because there will be some that would
of course.
Have a good selection.
prefer that with with
Yep.
your meal. But anyway, it's so exciting. I'm just thrilled to get to catch up with the both of you together, as opposed to the stories I did before separately. But it's wonderful to see. You're originally from California. So many Californians who've come to Central Texas.
Yeah.
So glad to see that.
We made the move early. You know, we've been here since 2017, but
Yeah.
we left California in 2011. And, you know, with all the chaos that is happening in California right now, it breaks my heart
Yeah.
because
It's a beautiful state.
It's where I'm from, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I always would not joke with people, but I'm like, I live in other people's vacations.
Yeah.
People would come to San Diego for their, you know, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
got to live and work there most of
yeah.
my life and career.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to be from California. But it truly breaks my heart. I have a few friends that obviously still live there, but and I talk with them and they're just like, we want to move. Like
Oh.
I'm like, come to Waco. We love
I was
Waco, you
gonna
know.
say,
like,
you're a Texan now.
yeah, but it is a beautiful state. But I'm glad we don't live there anymore.
Yeah.
Texas is a beautiful state too.
Yes, it is.
Certainly is. It certainly is. And made so much better because of people like you who are here. And I'm just proud to call you friends.
And thank you.
Glad to see how everything is evolving and moving along for you. And we want to be sure to let people know when it is time for it to be up and running.
Yeah, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And so we
And
post regularly
Yeah,
on
we
all
do.
3 platforms. But so we have both. We have the old Bear Arms Brewing. So it's at Bear Arms Brewing and then we have at 6 Oaks Waco
Okay.
also. So we post on both channels. But of course, you know, we're building followers brand new from scratch for 6 Oaks, but we're keeping the old brand. But, you know, it's interesting with Facebook, and that was also one of the inspirations why we created the new brand, because Bear Arms, because we were an alcohol-based business, Facebook and others would kind of de-rank us. They wouldn't post, the reach wasn't as
Oh.
much because we were an alcohol-based business. And also the algorithms changed for anything that had to do with firearms and the like spelling.
Oh,
So because we were Bear Arms, even though we weren't the right to bear arms.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
Exactly, but they did.
The
And so
algorithm knows.
the algorithm,
Wow,
you know,
okay.
and so our reach wasn't as good.
Oh,
So
my
we thought,
goodness.
you know what, this is probably, and things changed.
Yeah.
It was truly in that last year that we were in business last year that why are we getting the reach that we used to get, you know, the likes, and people weren't hearing as much. And so I, obviously being in marketing, you know, I reached out to my team on the Yak side, on my marketing business and my social media experts, and they're like, oh, well, Jill, it's because it's the right to bear arms, you know, anything that has to do with a firearm.
But it's spelled differently. It's bear.
But they think you're
Correct.
trying,
It's
trying to
roll up your
cheat.
sleeves,
It's
bare
like
your arms.
Bare your
perfect.
arm.
Correct. But, you
The
know,
algorithm does a calculation that we're trying to cheat and avoid
Oh.
the real word.
yep.
Oh.
And so they think of
I'm learning
everything.
more.
Yeah. And, you know,
You have to think of everything.
You do.
And it's
and that's why people will use, like, you know how they'll do a swear word in social media and they'll
but-
put in the at sign and the
right.
hashtag sign, all that stuff, because they try to fool the algorithm to not, you know,
right.
put offensive words out there. But they've gotten smart over the years, and they put in all of those things into the algorithm that says, you know what, don't post those things, and, you know, de-rank them, demonetize, all those kind of words that are being used right now in that kind of social media realm.
Well, it's a good thing you're an expert in that area too.
I try to be. I've been doing it 34 years.
Yeah, has it surprised you how things have changed?
It's an interesting world right now, especially with AI. And,
Yeah.
and sorry to totally change the subject, but I was just having a conversation with a colleague this morning, and, you know, everyone's fearful that AI is just going to replace our jobs.
Yeah.
You know, and of course, I think about AI. I've been marketing AI for years. I've been in high performance computing and AI since 2011. So AI kind of came to fruition with deep learning and machine learning. I would say probably 7-8 years ago, maybe even a little bit more than that. And AI was kind of the umbrella, and machine learning and deep learning came under that AI umbrella. And so I've seen it come from infancy now to where it is today. So probably dealing with it a lot longer than most. But now it's becoming mainstream, and people are playing with it with ChatGPT and all those kinds of things. But we're like, oh my gosh, they're going to replace my job as a coder, you know, if I write code. Or I've seen this time and time again now that I've been in my career 34 years of how jobs change over the years. But as a marketer, like, it's writing content.
Yeah.
It's writing articles for, you know, it's writing press releases. It's writing blog posts. It's doing all these things. But the way AI works is that it learns from what we contribute to AI. So I deal in high tech, and most of my clients have brand new products, new industries, something that AI doesn't know anything about because it doesn't exist.
Right.
And so if you are this new company and this new product, there's no way that AI can write your content for you because it doesn't know. And so if you tell it to write a blog post about, you know, some new nuclear powered data center, something that I know a little bit about, that it's going to tell you about, you know, 3 Mile Island. But that has nothing to do with a small nuclear reactor that is running a data center.
Right.
I could go into details about that, but I won't. So I try to, I tell people that you might be able to make it sound better, write better, be more, check your work, but you have to write the content.
Yeah.
You have to create that brand. And so what's going to happen, though, is companies who don't understand AI, they'll think, oh, well, we don't need our marketing people anymore. We'll just have AI write our stuff for us. And then it becomes what I call milk toast. Mm-hmm. So think about dry toast, dry white bread, and milk. They both are pretty bland. And if you put that together, it's just this disgusting mush, right?
Doubly bland, yeah.
Yes. But, you know, if you add some eggs and you add some sugar and maybe some cinnamon and nutmeg and you bake it, what does that make? That makes a delicious bread pudding, right?
Got it.
And so, but if we don't put those other ingredients into it, all we're going to get is milk toast.
Yeah.
And everyone will look and act the same. They will sound the same, and there will be nothing unique about your product.
Right.
And your marketing. And so we already see it on Facebook and LinkedIn, stuff that's generated by AI.
You know it immediately.
And you just keep on scrolling.
I do, yeah.
And it's boring. You say skip.
Yeah.
And so these companies that are creating this content from AI, people will just get blind to it. Yeah. And they will just gloss you over. And then the people that are really creating their own content,
they'll stand out.
That's right. And they will gravitate. And that's what Yaks is known for. We are known for creating that really customized content and brand and being able to connect with their customer in a very personal way. I mean, we even go down to I am going to create content specifically for our decision makers. We talk about their voice. We understand their problems. And I'm going to make it very apparent to them. So when they read my content, they go, you get me, you know me, you understand my pain points. So I'm going to trust you and I'm going to use your product because you understand me. And that's what's going to make a difference, especially in this world of AI. We joke that I think the saying is in a land of amputees, own one-armed man can be king. So we in AI, we're going to go through this trough where we have milquetoast, and it's going to be a land of amputees. So anybody who rises up just a bit will be able to become king. And I know these are not popular words right now. Sorry to use that pun, but
we know what a king is.
Right?
Yeah.
As a marketer, we always have to stand out and be above the rest and look at our competition in the rear view mirror and say, keep up.
Yeah.
And that's always how I've been a marketer, is to just say, keep up competition. I'm always going to be one step ahead.
One step ahead of you. Well, that's right, and that translates obviously as well into Six Oaks and Bear Arms and what's happening.
That's the hope.
Yeah, what's happening here in Waco too. Fascinating stuff. We could do come back. Let's do another thing on,
I would love
on
it,
AI
Ann.
because you could create a podcast.
And I would
with
welcome
AI,
that.
but we're real. We are very real here today.
We're live right here,
We are,
We're
yeah, that's
talking
right.
face to face, and
That's
that's
exactly.
Let's do it. Let's talk about AI and how because so many people are
Yeah.
playing around with ChatGPT and
Yeah.
Gemini and all these different AI platforms, and how can I use it for my company?
Right.
But how do I not become milquetoast?
How fortunate am I to have Jill and her team doing this for my company?
I know. I love it when a plan comes together, right?
Yeah, we've always been a good team, Kevin and
know.
I.
I
We've
see
been
that.
we've been together almost 27 years, almost 28 years.
Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
we work from friends. Romantically, obviously, we've been married for 25 and business partners for that long. So we met on the workplace floor. So we were working at a company in San Diego called New Era Communications, and we launched the voice over IP market. So we make telephone calls over the internet and have Facebook and probably even this podcast because it's going over the internet
Yeah.
because of things that we were doing in the mid 90s. So yeah.
Groundbreaking.
We've seen a lot of technology in our time.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, you have. Well, we're just excited to get to catch up with the both of you, and I know exciting days are ahead. So,
Yeah. Follow us on Facebook because
Okay.
good times are ahead.
all right. Thank you, Jill, Kevin, and stay with us. We've got more show ahead. The City of Waco's 4th on the Brazos celebration will be Friday evening at Touchdown Alley. That's next to Baylor's McLean Stadium. Gates open at 6 p.m. and the HEB Fireworks Extravaganza kicks off at 9:15 p.m. 4th on the Brazos is free thanks to sponsors like HEB and the City of Waco. There will be music from Sister Sledge featuring Sledgendary and the Waco Community Band with their wonderful patriotic tunes. For more information, visit the Brazos Nights Waco website.
Hi, my name's Erica, and today I'm going to be taking you through my skincare routine using the Tasmanian Spring Water range from Sand and Sky. This range is really good for dry and dehydrated skin like myself. It's packed with 2 types of hyaluronic acid and fermented sea kelp to reduce redness and irritation, which I experience daily. So that's it. It's so quick and so easy, and my skin feels so dewy and so hydrated.
Mom and Dad can be a little competitive. They get all, yeah, buddy, and heck yeah. Lucky for them, Main Event has over 85 games and activities to play together, so they can get rematch after rematch after rematch. So do something awesome together.
I just got my Colgate Advanced LED Whitening Treatment in the mail, and I am very excited to have dramatically whiter teeth in just 10 days. My teeth are going to be 6 shades whiter. The treatment is enamel safe and hassle-free. It's even designed for my sensitive teeth. Let's open it up. Inside we have the blue light whitening device. A charger for after-age treatment as well. There's a full 10-day supply, and it looks easy to apply. Order yours today at shop.colgate.com.
I was raised on a dirt road a few miles outside of town, where I'd wake up at the crack of dawn to do my chores and feed the cows. Hey, all this country life, it's taught me all the lessons I've learned, like don't take Jesus for granted or any money that you didn't earn. I remember that summer day when I strummed my first chord and the first song that I wrote and the first crowd that I played it for. Everybody told me to take my songs and run, and now I'm headed out of my old truck with me and my guitar, and I'm headed southbound down to Austin. I'm gonna try my luck down there on that music scene. When I get there, I hope someone might find me, but I won't forget where I came from. I was raised on Texas country. I'm all grown up now, got a little farm of my own, with a tour bus parked around back, a wife, 2 kids, a loving home. I still sit on this porch, big on these 6 strings, writing the next set of songs that I'm about to take with me when I head up northbound to the stockyards. I'm gonna try my luck up there on that music scene. When I get there, I hope someone might find me, but I won't forget where I came from. I was raised on Texas country. Yeah. And now we're headed eastbound out to Nashville. I got some big shot that wants to record us, but we ain't signing no big league contract, 'cause we don't forget where we came from. And now we're headed southbound down to Lukenbach, Texas. Gonna have some fun down there on that music scene. When we get there, we're gonna throw a big party, 'cause we don't forget where we came from. We were raised on Texas country. Yeah, yeah, and raised in Texas country. Yeah, yeah. There you go. That one's called Texas, Raised on Texas Country.
Thanks for being with us. Tomorrow is the 4th of July, and we have a very special show with the young Marines here in Central Texas. Do have a great day.